This is Heavy Conversation with Bruce and Jody, a podcast where we talk about being a big guy in today's world.
I'm Bruce.
And I'm Jody. Here we go.
Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, here we go.
Hey, Bruce.
Jody, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm, it's a good day. Yesterday, well, I guess the day before we were recording this was my birthday. So,
Oh, yes.
so I got to kind of enjoy myself, eat barbecue, which I will say that Portland, Oregon is not known for its barbecue.
Yeah, okay.
But I did find a place that had been heavily recommended.
Good.
Called Matt's Barbecue, and it was glorious. It was
Nice.
wonderful. It's the best barbecue I've had in town,
Okay.
and I was able to get some fun and interesting beer as well that I brought in with me today. So
Okay. I'm writing down Matt's Barbecue to try out myself.
you definitely should. It's a food cart in the Mississippi neighborhood here in Portland.
Nice.
And yeah, it's our food carts are hard to beat.
Yeah,
I think.
If it wasn't, I was thinking about going to one today, but it was a little too rainy. So
yeah. So it's luckily I got out. It was nice and didn't have to worry about any of that. And as I was waiting for them to get my order together, I saw this place that had glorious beer. And when you don't get out as much, it's just a treat to drive across town. And
absolutely.
So I was like, yes. So that was my excitement. So 41 is off to a good start.
Yeah. Well, mine's coming in a few months, so
not long. Not long.
Yeah, it's been kind of a quiet week for me. There's not a lot of new stuff going on. Just getting through it. Through it.
I feel like that's kind of the way it is for most people right now. It's just you're just trying to get through the day. You're trying to make it work, and I feel like that's a pretty good segue into this week's topic.
Yes, absolutely.
We are talking about dating and hookups in the age of COVID.
Yeah.
How does it work? How are people dating? How are they hooking up? What's this? How do you do that when you're not supposed to? When social distancing is a thing and you're not supposed to breathe on other people? How does that work?
How do you navigate dating and hooking up? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and it definitely puts a fun and interesting twist on all of that stuff. So we'll give some things and some stories that we've heard and some recommendations throughout the episode today.
Yes, people who are dating are certainly they're talking about this and how they're navigating it and doing things that that I definitely wasn't doing when I was dating. I mean, this is a whole new world, and the fact that we're dealing with COVID and how you connect with other people has changed so much in the last year that it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
So
but before we get into that, you wanted to talk about a new show that we both have been watching.
It's a small indie show that people may not have heard of.
I was like,
on a network that you might not be familiar with called Disney Plus, WandaVision.
Yes.
So
yes, WandaVision.
Everybody's been waiting for it, and it's here, and now we're a few weeks in, and we haven't talked about it yet, and it just felt like a good time to kind of throw it out there because I mean I've made it clear that I love this stuff and it's fun to watch. And we haven't had any Marvel movies or any of that kind of thing for a year.
Yeah,
now
it seems like it's been forever. Like they were coming out just one right after the other for so long, and now it's been a while since we've had anything new.
Right, everything's just gotten pushed, and so this WandaVision is it's on Disney Plus, and it's the first Marvel Cinematic Universe show. So a show using actors from the movies that will tie into that whole universe that they built through all those films that they did, and will go back to the films. It will lead into apparently this leads into the Doctor Strange film, the next Doctor Strange film. So the cool thing about this, when they announced WandaVision, they had announced a few other shows. They've got a ton of shows they're going to do with different characters. Some you've heard of, some maybe you haven't. But with WandaVision, it's Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, and Vision, the
And I was like, I don't know what he is.
Synthezoid is what I keep hearing. So we'll say that's
Okay.
a
Okay.
flying robot is what we'll
Yeah, I
say
was
that
like,
is.
I don't know exactly what he is.
A flying robot that can feel. That's
Oh,
what he is. And so, uh, a spoiler alert if you haven't watched Avengers:
yeah.
Infinity War, and if you haven't, then too bad for you because it's been too
It's been a
long.
long
But
time.
Vision is killed, uh, technically twice in that movie, and he doesn't show up in Endgame, the very last Avengers movie. So this whole thing with WandaVision um, is supposed to take place after all of that. And what we're seeing is that their thing with WandaVision is each episode is basically made as almost like an homage um, kind of TV shows, sitcoms from different eras. So the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, it goes all the way up to like current
Yeah.
uh shows. And so the first they launched it with 2 episodes.
Hmm.
They put out
Hmm.
2 episodes in the beginning. And so the first one was kind of like the Dick Van Dyke Show, Donna Reed kind of
Yeah.
thing, and the second one was kind of like Bewitched. And so
Hmm. Hmm.
they're doing this kind of thing where you're learning about uh Wanda and Vision, kind of understanding little by little what is actually
Yeah,
happening
yeah, yeah.
here.
Honestly, the it was hard for me. The first, I like watched the first episode, and I was like, is this what the whole show is going to be like? Because I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle this. Because it was typical of to its time period of a show is very overacted and kind of campy, and I was just like, I kept looking at Bjorn. I'm like, is this really what the show is? Like, this is what the whole thing is going to be? And then I think it was in the second episode, there were a couple little hints to like, there's something else going on outside of what they know is going on. So there was like a couple little things that happened, and you're like,
Yeah,
okay, there's more to the story. There's something going on. And then, like you said, it was more bewitched, and I was like, because I honestly didn't read a lot of the what it was supposed to be about. I kind of like to just
sure.
jump into it because I want to make my own opinion and form my own opinions about things. But I saw a lot of the previews and I was like, I could have swore they were in color in some of the previews, so I'm very confused what's going on in this show. So yeah, it's pretty interesting though so far.
It is. Like I said, each episode is a different era of basically these sitcoms, so we've got the first two. The third week, the third episode is in color, and
Hmm.
it's kind of
Hmm.
like the Brady Bunch sort of thing like that. I don't know what the next one is, but I do know that there's supposed to be some kind of for the 90s shows. I think there's going to be some kind of Full House sort of feel to some of it. I don't think it's all like, I don't think it's made to be like that. I think they're mixing some of the shows together.
Yeah.
I know we're supposed to get like The Office or Parks and Rec, that kind of
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's going to be interesting. And as these things are happening, they're going along with this, but you're seeing that in this universe, you're starting to see that some of the threads are being pulled, and you're starting to see that there's actually something going on here. So we're trying to find out as viewers, why are we in this universe? Why is this happening?
Hmm.
Um, why is Wanda aware of what's happening and able to control what's going on? There's a part in the second episode where she sees something happening that she doesn't like, that kind of brings her out of this
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sitcom world, and she basically just says no and rewinds,
Yeah.
and it goes
I'm
away.
like, what? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting, and it is very, very different from any of the other really. All of the Marvel stuff has been very straightforward,
Hmm.
and this
Hmm.
is not that. This is I would say this is Marvel taking a chance and trying something that's kind of outside of their wheelhouse. But
Yeah.
man, I mean, the episodes, they're doing them justice. They're definitely
Hmm.
making them
Hmm.
feel like these shows. And I read something that said that they actually uh, two of the people who run the show and run the Marvel kind of cinematic universe
Okay.
sat down with Dick Van Dyke, actually
Oh.
had lunch with him to talk about how they would do this kind of
Okay.
show.
Okay.
So it was really interesting to see kind of how that came together. And I mean, I was going to watch it regardless of the quality of the show,
Okay, yeah.
I like it and I'm interested and I'm curious to see where they're going to go with it, because I don't think that they can stay buried in these kind of like homages to these shows and,
Yeah. They're gonna
not
lose
push things
people, yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I liked like you said, it's a completely different type of Marvel than I'm used to. So I like that part of it where it's not just like this big epic battle thing, you know.
Right.
I like that it's more trying to figure out the characters, like what's going on with them,
Hmm.
like their relationship to each other, and then a couple of the others, immediate characters that like their neighbors or whatever. And yeah, it's
Right.
fun.
Right. And I think Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany are great. I think they're doing a really good job in it. I love Paul Bettany in basically anything. And
Hmm.
and Catherine Hahn is as the neighbor. Uh,
Yeah.
I think she's great. She's
Yep.
awesome in everything that she's ever been in. So I'm loving it, and I'm curious to see where it goes and who these people end up being, and kind of who they turn out to
Yeah,
be. And
in
I
the
know that.
third episode, there was quite a bit with her and another neighbor guy. Like, I don't know if they were
Right.
figuring it out or if they were like they were orchestrating this. Like you're like, there's something
It
going
seems like
on
they
that
know something.
they know something. They're not saying
Yeah.
anything, and I was like, okay, what is this now? Like,
Right. And there are definitely characters that we just don't know who they are or what they're about, what they're doing, anything like that. We just
mhm,
they are there, and they're kind of fitting into the sitcoms that they're showing. So it's going to be really interesting to see as they kind of open it up. I think it's fun. It's an exciting way to try and do this. And the rumors are that that the Scarlet Witch is going to end up being kind of like the villain of the
mm,
Doctor Strange movies. So
okay,
who knows? We'll see where things go from there. After the fact, spoiler if people didn't want to know that. So
yeah, well,
yeah, but I like it. Every Friday on Disney Plus, they've got new ones coming out, and this is good because if we're not going to be able to go to the movie theaters, we
yeah,
need something else to watch.
yeah. It looks like they've got a lot of other shows coming out too. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier says
Yes.
March. Wait, that was March 19th, 2020. What happened to that one?
No, so it's supposed to be March of this year. That what they haven't announced the actual date yet, but they're saying
Ah,
that after WandaVision, then we should get that.
okay.
And there's a Loki show, there's a She-Hulk show, um, there's a Miss
Miss
Marvel
Marvel.
show.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so it's a show about a Muslim teenager who gets powers, and it's actually the comic runs were really great. They did a really great job with it. It's a fun character that's actually really good, and I'm excited to see where they go with her as well. So
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
nice. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely check out um, WandaVision and give it a chance. Watch all the episodes that are there. Don't just stop after the first one.
you really do need to get to like that third episode for it to
Hmm.
kind of
Even
like
the second episode, I was
the
like,
first.
okay, I see.
Yeah.
There's things in there. The first one, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to watch this.
Right, right. By the time you get through to three, it really starts to be like, okay, this is not just going to be
Hmm.
them
Hmm.
playing through sitcoms. There's something really happening here that's compelling.
Yeah.
So, yes. All
Woo.
right. So, beer time?
Yeah, I'm going to need a beer before we talk about dating and hooking up.
Yes,
So
yes. Well,
I found a fun one, which I already had a few sips of, and I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Combs, Komes.
sure.
It's a raspberry porter brewed with raspberry juice, vanilla, and chili peppers.
That sounds good.
Yeah, and it's a product of Poland,
Ooh.
so it's a Polish beer.
So does it have a kick?
It is 8.5%, so it's not crazy. I'm feeling a little bit already, but
Sure,
it's
sure. Is
really
it?
good.
And you said there are peppers, so
Chili peppers,
is
yeah. It's really dark, but it's
yeah.
not. I didn't have any like super spice, but it's got a little. Oh, that's the kick. Yeah, a little kick from that, a little bit.
Okay.
Hmm.
Right. Nice. Nice.
Yeah, it's really good.
So good. I like that. It's a Polish beer, huh?
Yeah, I got it at that market, the John's Marketplace or whatever.
Very cool. Well,
What
that's
is it?
good.
is a bottom fermented dark beer brewed with raspberry juice and lagered with bourbon vanilla from Madagascar and Indian chili peppers.
Ooh,
It's stored for
that sounds
18
good.
months and the beer changes its taste. Now you can decide how long your cones will mature. So you could keep it in here longer.
Okay.
It's
Nice.
really
So
good.
you can age it if you would like. Who wants to do that? That's hard to do.
Yeah, I
It's
gotta
hard to do.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
drink it.
So my beer is a leftover from yesterday's birthday beer
Mm,
celebration,
yeah.
and as I was waiting to pick up my barbecue, I looked over and I saw this place that I had forgotten uh, that I had wanted for years to go to this place. It's called Prost, and it's in the Mississippi neighborhood in Portland, and it's like a German pub basically, and so they have all these German beers. So I went in to get some beer to go, and they put their beers in mason jars,
Okay.
and they had the option of 64-ounce mason jars, which of course birthday beer. I'm going for the biggest thing that I could get,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
so
Oh
here we
boy.
are
Oh
with
boy.
yes with my beer, and there is technically no label, so I'll show you here. Let's see if I can get that. There you go. And as far as pronouncing that, we're going to say Andex Volbier Hell.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you to the bartender who wrote that on top, because I never would have remembered as soon as I got out of there. This is fantastic. It's a whole lot of beer for one person to drink, so I'd been sharing the wealth, and I had actually also had done a different beer yesterday called uh, Grevensteiner
Okay.
or Grevensteiner, and that one is gone.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's good to share your beer with
If you're not watching the video, they're giant jars full of beer.
yes.
That looks weird to me. I don't know why.
It does it does look weird. It looks like you expect me to say I've been saving my pee and
I
this
know.
is
I
it.
was like, are those jars of pee next to your bed there, Bruce?
Right.
Or
Right. No, luckily for everyone,
it's
it's jars
beer.
of beer.
Jars of
So
beer. Okay.
mhm. Mm.
Wow.
So the great thing about this, yeah, it's a really good malty German beer. I love it. I'm a sucker for that, like old school,
Hmm.
good, tasty German beer, and
Can you hold up that
this
label
is
again for me? I'm sorry.
of course. Yeah, I was gonna say I have nothing to read about the beer, so you'll just have to trust me that it's, you know,
ANDEC
yep. There we go. So
Volver. Oh, here we go.
Andex,
Here we go.
yep,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Not
So
much in here either.
no,
So
no, it's
4.8% ABV, 23 IBU.
yeah, yeah. This is like, it takes you to Oktoberfest. It makes you want to go to Germany and drink a bunch of beer and just eat schnitzel and embrace life. And that, my friends, is what I would like to be doing right now.
Right?
Embracing life, eating schnitzel.
Yeah.
So,
Instead, we'll be drinking it out of a big jar.
yeah, I know I could have been classy and brought a glass,
Nah,
but why do that?
nah,
Why do that?
no worries.
So,
So we're gonna get to the dating and hooking up during COVID, since we're getting into our second year of the pandemic. People have definitely been still trying to connect with other people and date and all that kind of stuff. So the people are finding new ways to do that. Using technology a lot more, obviously, has definitely helped people connect with family and friends. So it's also a way to connect with potential partners, that kind of stuff. So um, I guess one of the big things is, everyone's doing Zoom meetings. That you can do the same sort of thing for dating. If you, depending on where you're meeting your potential date, a lot of people are using apps.
Zoom dates.
Yeah, not, you can have virtual dates with
Yeah,
your,
yeah.
Zoom dates or FaceTime dates or whatever sort of video conferencing.
It's a very safe way to do it, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you don't have to worry about breathing on each other. Uh, if the date is not going well, you could always say my internet connection died and jump out. I mean, good to know you
Yeah,
got some
you could
options,
do that.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, and I think that's a fun way to, you can only, message and text for so long. You got to have actual quote unquote face to face meetings
contact,
and, yeah, actually have a conversation
yeah.
whatever sort of in real life we're talking about with this, virtual meetings. But yeah, I think that's a really great idea to definitely. I know I like it's like when you're almost like when you're interviewing people or something. It's like you want to. How do they interact
Sure.
with you? How do they have a conversation? How do they sound? I don't know.
Well, it's a great way. That's a great way to do it, and it's a great way to be able to connect with people for lots of different things. Whether
Hmm.
I mean, you're having your virtual happy hours and all that kind of thing. So why couldn't you do a date through Zoom? And I guess along the lines of the interview sort of thing,
Well, but that's
it could
basically
be
what it
kind of
is.
yeah.
You're kind of
Isn't that what
interviewing that
dating
person.
is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You get all
yeah,
those questions about, where did you go to school? Where do you work? Where are you from? And, all those kind of
right.
typical questions. And even someone was saying, those questions get really monotonous and sort of repetitive. So when you're doing these virtual dates, make sure you're not just interviewing the person, you're trying to have conversations with them. You should have maybe found those sort of connections while you're messaging on the apps or whatever websites you're finding people, and then have conversations about those things that you have in common with them. Don't just interview them.
Yeah, I guess on one hand it's good that you can be a little pickier. You can kind of get to know people a little more before you're going out and seeing them. And
Hmm.
I mean, some people are comparing COVID tests and doing all
Hmm.
these things before they get together. Which, hey, better safe than sorry. You got to do what you got to do. We're looking at 400,000 people dead. It's not something to take lightly.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you've got to do whatever makes sense for you before you meet with somebody. And if you're doing this and you're dating, please do it outdoors.
Hmm.
You're going to meet up with somebody. Great time to go to the park, right?
Yeah.
So lots of things that you can do outdoors that could be fun and that could be really good to pass the time, and it
Hmm.
could make for a better date than, like, I don't know, going to dinner or sitting at a bar or something like that. Because I remember in the olden days, when I had dates sometimes that were like, you'd go to dinner, or you'd hit the bar. Now the bar, you could kind of make that work a little more, but just if it wasn't going well,
Hmm.
it could be an awkward kind of thing or uncomfortable. And if you're out and you're doing something outdoors and you're going somewhere, then that can be more fun. It can give you something else to focus on that isn't just that person,
Hmm.
especially if it's kind of a so-so
Yeah.
date.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think now, with the video things, I think you can get a lot of that awkwardness out of the way. You just have a lot more time to communicate with the other person because we aren't doing a lot of other things. There aren't other distractions, like you said. It's either working from home and then that's it, or you go to work and then you come home. So you can either be messaging, texting, videoing with the other person. You can. I think you can have, or what I've heard is you can have more in-depth conversations right away because you aren't distracted about with the other people in
Sure.
the bar or whatever. So I think that's really good, and you can even have those really good in-depth conversations about COVID. Like, what is the other person's idea on mask wearing and quarantining, and like you can have all those kind of conversations before you even do have that walk in the park or meet up to do whatever you're going to do.
Totally.
Have those conversations before you meet up. Like, get all your, be safe and make sure that you have the conversation beforehand so that when you get there you can just focus on trying to be together and doing whatever, good
Right.
walks or whatever you're doing, or meeting up for coffee or whatever it is. But yeah, talk to them about how they feel about mask wearing and quarantining and getting vaccinated. You can have
Right.
those conversations over the phone and or over your laptop, and yeah, it's just a lot easier to get that out of the way beforehand before you meet up.
It could be that all of this leads to just a more open dialogue around dating and around preferences and needs, all of that, in general. So
Hmm.
it's more than just the pandemic. So that hopefully, when we get past all of this and people are vaccinated and we're back together, and
Hmm.
we don't necessarily have to wear masks all the time, that some of these things can still be part of the conversation that you're having when you're meeting someone or when you're planning to
Mhm,
meet someone.
mhm.
It could be a good thing. You've got to really look at the positives around all of this.
Yeah, and because I know sometimes a lot of people's social skills are started to go out the window since we're not around people as much anymore. So, yeah, being able to be honest and open about your needs and wants beforehand is always a really good thing to do in
Hmm.
with a relationship. So, yeah, that's definitely a skill that we all need to work on, I think, and
Yeah.
just having those conversations, more communication's always better,
Yeah.
and we've got plenty
Absolutely.
of time to have those conversations. So, you know,
Indeed.
don't feel awkward about putting those things out there with other people. So,
Yeah, and if you need to start slow, do the Zoom thing, do the video chat,
hmm
whatever, and kind of work from there. That said, uh, it's not the same as meeting someone in person and being face to face,
hmm
actually having that kind of real physical contact that you get from being around other people. And Lord knows that we can use real physical contact these days after
yeah,
almost a year of doing this. Just being stuck at home and not being able to be around people regularly is hard enough. So if you're single and you're dating, or you are used to being able to hook up with people on a regular basis and you can't do that in the same way, it's definitely going to be a real change that you have to get used to.
hmm hmm yeah. And I guess on the other spectrum of dating, there's trying if you're dating and getting to the hookup stage, maybe there's definitely lots of negotiating that has to happen before that goes on. Because we're supposed to be social distance, so all that stuff. But maybe getting if you're able to get a COVID test before you actually meet up with people, definitely do that. Make sure you're wearing your masks at all
Yes.
times. Just be honest and upfront with people about, try to quarantine, the whatever 10 to 14 days, whatever your local health department is telling you to do or the CDC is telling you to do before
Right.
you can meet up with people. Do all those things and make it as safe as possible for you and the other person. I mean, it's not something you cannot do, but it's definitely not recommended. So take as many
Right.
steps as you can to reduce any of your risk of transmitting. And so, yeah, I think
And
that's
think about it this way, wearing a mask, you can still be sexy when you're wearing a
yeah.
mask. So if that's a
I mean,
concern,
some people are really
you
into
know,
that. So there's all kinds of,
right, exactly.
maybe you'll find something you didn't know you liked.
There you go. There you go. And you're staying safe, and it's worth it. Yes, it's a pain in the ass, but it's a necessary pain in the ass right now.
hmm
And it has been interesting, especially when it comes to sex and relationships and the way that those things work out right now. I know there was something that we saw for the city of New York and the
Yes.
British Columbia CDC, even talking about, if you're going to be hooking up with people and you're going to be around people, consider something like a glory hole. I
hmm
know, like, the craziest thing to throw out there, and probably should
Yeah.
have should have said that if the kids are in the car, you might want to wait until later to play the rest of this. But uh, there's
Yeah,
that way you're
be
not
creative. You can be
right,
creative about barriers in between each other.
yes,
Wearing masks at all time. Different
right.
positions can help.
There are lots of things you can
Just
do.
no kissing shouldn't be. Probably kissing should be out of the repertoire of when you're trying to hook up with people. But um, there's lots of different things. So definitely, if you want a little bit more in depth
Right.
on hooking up, maybe we won't get into all of that stuff, but you can definitely check out the newyork.gov hooking up during COVID. They've got talking about condoms and dental dams and don't have sex if you're not feeling well. If you might feel sick, obviously that should be a thing that you don't go hook up with someone, and having those conversations is always a
Right.
big thing. Um, you know, the big thing, I really enjoyed this at the top of this. Where is it? Your safest sex partner is yourself. So masturbation is always
There we go.
a thing. You could do that over the video conferencing with the person. You can
That's
have
true. There's always
phone sex or video sex, whatever they're calling it.
sexting.
Yeah, the sexting you can pleasure yourselves together over the video chat thing or whatever over the phone. There's always that.
You got a lot of options. There are a lot of options, and you can make it work. And humanity always finds a way, right?
Yes.
so
nature always takes its. Yeah, it always happens.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what's going on.
So be creative, be safe. You're going to figure it out, and you're going to find a way to make it work. And just think about those things that you're comfortable with, and kind of go from there. And we've made it this far. However many months into this pandemic, we're going to get past it. Yeah, I know. 200 months into the pandemic.
Year 20.
Yes. So you don't have to hold out that much longer. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And we'll be back to some semblance of normalcy soon. So just be safe and be careful and go from there.
Yeah, I think that's the best advice is, have open, honest communication with whoever you're trying to date or hook up with. Follow some simple precautionary things that I think are pretty easy to do, and we can all stay sane and stay safe at the same time.
Absolutely. So there we go. I feel like we've thrown out some things there that you may have known, you may not have, and this is actually the first of a month of sex and relationship oriented episodes that we're doing. So all month long, we're going to do some other things that cover different categories. So if you're not dating and this doesn't pertain to you, don't worry. Maybe next week will. Each week is going to be something that's different. That's pretty interesting. So I'm excited to jump into this month and just kind of get these out here.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
Thanks, Bruce.
All right. Stay safe.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Heavy Conversation. Be sure to like and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.